So we are diving into Trump's congressional address. As you guys may have known, there was that heated discussion between Trump and Zelensky. What you may not know is that recently on Twitter, as of this morning, Zelensky said he now wants peace. He's willing to sit down for peace negotiations. And I thought to myself, like, wow, that changed quick. So that's new on the front. I don't know if Trump is going to address Zelensky's recent remarks. So we'll have to wait and see that. We'll also have to wait and see if there's going to be more discussion here, in particular about Doge. Another thing that has been brought to my attention are the crackdowns on more protests, more censorship at the college universities. They are going really heavy towards anti-Israel criticism. So stay tuned for that as well. And it looks like Marco Rubio is coming in here. Let's go ahead and turn up the volume.
Secretary, can't wait to connect with you. You have so much fun. Yes.
Oh, something else I wanted to add too. There are people who are not happy with RFK right now too, because it seems like he's flip-flopping on the whole measles situation. I forgot to tell you guys that, like, if you are on X, like, you'll just find it, just Google RFK, and like people are losing their cool because he's flip-flopping on that, which again doesn't surprise me. I told you guys a lot of these people are just fake. So I guess they're waiting here for Donald Trump. This should be interesting, you guys. People are clapping, so I guess he's starting to come in. But for sure, he's probably going to talk about, obviously, Ukraine war. I don't know if he's going to talk about the new censorship, rules. Right now, Trump is threatening to jail people who protest against Israel at these colleges. Like, it's bad. There's Tulsi Gabbard. Can't see everybody, but so I don't know if they're going to talk about that or not. But obviously the war, they're going to talk about that. Now, here's another thing, guys, that you may not be privy to. The 25% tariffs, that'll probably be discussed. He said that he was going to implement those tariffs on Mexico and Canada. That was announced yesterday, I believe. So I am going to prepare you for that yes, things would be more expensive for you. And I know things are already expensive now, including the grocery store prices, by the way. But if those tariffs are implemented, and I think they're talking about it would start in April, if that were to happen, it's not just food prices that would grow up. We're talking about, there are things we get from Canada like steel. We're talking about energy prices might go up. That means your electric bill may be higher. It's things like that. So it's supposed to start April. I hope that something is resolved before then, because the last thing that we need right now is just Jesus, more price increases. That's the last thing that we need now. What's this, Skylar? I hope Trump learned his phonics in his time away. Listening to his grown ass read so slowly is painful. Oh my God. Yeah, we'll see. It'll be really interesting. Malty says they're going to announce more tax money for Ukraine and Israel. Unless he changed his mind. He did say recently that he ended all aid to Israel. So I don't know. We'll see. Canada here, tariffs started today. Oh boy. Yeah, people keep asking me this. Will you attend a White House press conference? I'm not sure they would even let me in, right? So I know they said they open it to independent media, but I'm not sure I would be one of the ones that would be able to get in there, right? I think it would be more open to those that are conservative, like commentator, which I'm not. And I'm technically not considered a news network. That's another thing too. It's like, oh, I'm just Sabby's podcast. I don't know. Yeah, it would be kind of weird. I don't know. I don't think they would let me. They'll probably say, get her out of here. No, she can't come in. Who are you? Get out of here. Ann said, Sabby, you should still try. I could. I mean, I don't live in DC. That's part of the problem. I mean, so I'm in Boston, the Boston area, Massachusetts. So you're talking about that's like 7 hours away from me. So it's a commute. It's a trip for me. It's not just let me see if I can get there, and then I get there and I can't. All right. So that's an expensive trip for me. What's this, Ashura? I think you mean Trump ended money to Ukraine, not Israel. Yeah, I thought that's what I was said. Ukraine. And we'll see if that stands. All right. So more people are coming in now. Here we go. sitting here wondering to myself, like, think about how much time is wasted just for them to walk down that aisle. You know what I mean? Like, all of this can happen after. And I say this, and this is no favoritism, right? Because I said this during Biden's address as well. I was like, you guys can do this after. You can chat with him and shake his hand and say, nice to meet you and all that stuff after. Ain't nobody get time for all that. People just want to get to the point. So it almost kind of feels like WW. It kind of gives you a WWF vibe where people like they're walking in, they come out of the tunnel and they're walking down. There's Ed Markey. Oh, Ed Markey stood. Because the Democrats were on this side. Ed Markey stood up. Interesting. Fist bumping the fans, literally. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Oh my God. Yeah, it's like, no, ain't nobody got time for all that. It's just like, just go up there and give the speech and keep it moving. Like, that's how I see it. So when he said politics always gives me a WWF vibe, I can see that. Like, it's literally, like, honestly, it's like 17 minutes in. Because I started on time. Okay, here we go.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a great honor. Thank you very much. Speaker Johnson, Vice President Vance, the First Lady of the United States, members of the United States Congress, thank you very much. And to my fellow citizens, America is back.
We're back with high prices still, right? Let's see how back we are.
6 weeks ago, I stood beneath the dome of this Capitol and proclaimed the dawn of the golden age of America. From that moment on, it has been nothing but swift and unrelenting action to usher in the greatest and most successful era in the history of our country. We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years, and we are just getting started.
That's something in particular that pisses me off, because it shows you just how much the Democrats could have done, right? When I kept seeing him make all these different executive orders, I'm like, it was just frustrating, right? I mean, it's a win, like, for Trump and for the people who like voted for him or whatever. But I look back at Biden, I look back at Obama, and it just goes to show you how much they really could have done if they wanted to.
I return to this chamber tonight to report that America's momentum is back, our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and the American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before. The American dream is unstoppable, and our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed and perhaps will never witness again. There's never been anything like it. The presidential election of November 5th was a mandate like has not been seen in many decades. We won all 7 swing states, giving us an electoral college victory of 312 votes.
To be fair, if you were watching my show before election night, I warned you that was going to happen. I warned you with my prediction that he was going to win every swing state. Democrats better try to figure out how they're going to get the Muslim voting community back, because from people that I've spoken to, they said they would never vote for the Democratic Party again. So, and I don't know how Democrats will win Michigan without the Muslim vote, because you need to win Detroit and the Detroit suburbs. That includes Dearborn. Crazy times, fam.
We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
Does everybody see the division here? This is our Congress. These are our politicians. Does everybody see this? And I feel like it's been this way since 2016. No, let me take it back. Actually, Barack Obama 08, it was kind of like this too. Maybe not to the same degree, but does you see the division? We are not moving forward together as a country at all. We're just not. Like, this is everybody on this side, Democrats on this side, Republicans on this side. And these are the people that you are trusting to pass legislation that can impact your lives. These people are not together.
And won counties in our country, 2,700 to 525. On a map that reads almost completely red for Republican. Now, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. In fact, it's an astonishing record, 27-point swing, the most ever. Likewise, small business optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Yo, this is embarrassing. This is seriously embarrassing, regardless of who you voted for. This is ridiculous. Do you guys know it's not just us watching this? Do you realize that people in other countries, hey, some of you might be in the chat, international community is watching this? This is embarrassing. This is our government.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
Fam! Fam!
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House. Mr. President, you continue.
Thank you. Over the past 6 weeks, I have signed nearly 100 executive orders and taken more than 400 executive actions, a record to restore common sense, safety, optimism, and wealth all across our wonderful land. The people elected me to do the job, and I'm doing it. In fact, it has been stated by many that the first month of our presidency, it's our presidency, is the most successful in the history of our nation. By many. And what makes it even more impressive is that, do you know who number 2 is? George Washington. How about that? How about that? I don't know about that list, but we'll take it. Within hours of taking the oath of office, I declared a national emergency on our southern border, and I deployed the U.S. military and Border Patrol to repel the invasion of our country. And what a job they've done. As a result, illegal border crossings last month were by far the lowest ever recorded, ever. They heard my words and they chose not to come. Much easier that way. In comparison, under Joe Biden, the worst president in American history. There were hundreds of thousands of illegal crossings a month, and virtually all of them, including murderers, drug dealers, gang members, and people from mental institutions and insane asylums, were released into our country. Who would want to do that? This is my 5th such speech to Congress.
Did he say insane asylums? He said, did he say people released from insane asylums?
And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way.
Well, we wouldn't have that problem if it wasn't for the two-party system, because here's the thing, like, it's become more and more divided over time, right? So it's harder to congratulate somebody. I remember, like, back in the day, like when Barack Obama won in 2008, like George W. Bush, like, congratulate Barack Obama. They're like buddies. Somehow they became friends. Like, they're like buddies and all that kind of stuff. Like, it just is very different now. Like, it's more toxic. And I think some people have Trump derangement syndrome, right? Like, I will criticize Trump on policy, but I also don't have Trump derangement syndrome. Like, for example, I don't like war. I want the wars to end. So if Trump says to Zelensky, this war has got to end, it's a no-no, you're losing, people are dying, you're losing too many people, I see that as a plus, the war should end. But I had friends and comrades of mine that said, how can you be for that? Don't you know that means that you're on Russia's side? I was like, I thought it meant that the war would end and more people wouldn't die and we wouldn't risk getting closer to World War III and a nuclear war. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I don't want us to get close to World War III or anything either. Then you would want the war to end. It just, you know, and then, you know, you got to slide these little things in there. If it happened under Biden, would you be fine with it then? So that's the problem. It's the two-party system, and it's become more and more divided over time. Like, now it's sick. It's disgusting. These are the politicians that many of you voted for and elected, and you expect to represent your district and to work together on legislation that would impact you and your family. And they can't even get along like this. So it's interesting. I wonder how some of these congressional hearings actually go. This is public. This is on TV. But the reality is that there's nothing. No working together, no nothing. I just don't get it. I say applaud him for trying to end the war in Ukraine. Criticize him for his bullshit on Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. Criticize him for making people lose their fucking jobs. Criticize him in the areas where he's wrong. But when it comes to ending a war, we got Bernie Sanders out there on Twitter right now saying Donald Trump belongs to Putin. I would say, no, he belongs to Benjamin Netanyahu. He belongs to Israel, just like the rest of you clowns. That's what I would say. But you got Bernie Sanders out there advocating for the war to continue. It's a mess. It's sad.
So Democrats sitting before me, for just this one night, why not join us in celebrating so many incredible wins for America? For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
What was Nancy Pelosi doing there? Was she picking something out of her tooth? I don't know what's happening there. So he's saying, let's work together, right?
Every day, my administration is fighting to deliver the change America needs to bring a future that America deserves, and we're doing it. This is a time for big dreams and bold action. Upon taking office, I imposed an immediate freeze on all federal hiring, a freeze on all new federal regulations, and a freeze on all foreign aid.
Not foreign aid to Israel, though. He don't add that part.
I terminated the ridiculous Green New Scam. I withdrew from the unfair Paris Climate Accord, which was costing us trillions of dollars that other countries were not paying. I withdrew from the corrupt World Health Organization. And I also withdrew from the anti-American UN Human Rights Council. We ended all of Biden's environmental restrictions that were making our country far less safe and totally unaffordable. And importantly, we ended the last administration's insane electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto workers and companies from economic destruction. To unshackle our economy, I have directed that for every one new regulation, 10 old regulations must be eliminated, just like I did in my very successful first term. And in that first term, we set records on ending unnecessary rules and regulations like no other president had done before. We ordered all federal workers to return to the office. They will either show up for work in person or be removed from their job. And we have ended weaponized government where, as an example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How did that work out? Not too good. Not too good. And I have stopped all government censorship and brought back free speech in America. It's back.
No, you did not. No, you did not, because you just created documents, and you guys can pull this up. I don't know if I have time. You just created documents against free speech for the students at the universities. Anti-Israel speech. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to say anti-Israel speech is considered to be hate speech. So no. You guys push back on that. And for those of you who supported Trump and voted for Trump, make sure you push back on that, especially if you're a pro-free speech. That is not free speech. You can criticize a country's government. That is not okay. And he has already done that, implemented executive order that basically says if you're an international student and you participate in this activity, you will be deported. If you're a domestic student, you participate in this activity, you will go to prison. So no, you didn't bring back free speech. Both parties are pro-censorship, okay? Thank you. Let's continue.
And 2 days ago, I signed an order making English the official language of the United States of America. I renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. And likewise, I renamed, for a great president, William McKinley, Mount McKinley again. Beautiful Alaska. We love Alaska.
Yeah, again, so this is virtue signaling, and I told you I complained about virtue signaling under the Democrat administration. I complained about it under the Trump administration. These names don't mean anything to me. Okay. You changing the name of a body of water, changing the name of a mountain, to me, that's just virtue signaling, and I don't see that to be important.
We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies all across the entire federal government and indeed the private sector and our military. And our country
Why does the camera zoom in on her, like right after that was said?
will be woke no longer.
You guys know the Democratic Party co-opted woke. Woke came from the Black community. The Democratic Party co-opted and turned it into all this other stuff. Scottsboro boys.
We believe that whether you are a doctor, an accountant, a lawyer, or an air traffic controller, you should be hired and promoted based on skill and competence, not race or gender. Very important. You should be hired based on merit. And the Supreme Court, in a brave and very powerful decision, has allowed us to do so. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So white women, just a reminder again, this is going to mainly more so impact you, because DEI hiring primarily benefited white women. That's what the data shows. So just FYI. A lot of people looking at this and they're saying, oh, that's going to impact Black people. It's mainly going to impact white women. Think about that. Oh, and by the way, when he mentioned people getting promotions, I'm sitting back and I'm thinking people still get promoted, because no industry, no company that I worked for promoted people. If you wanted to get a higher position, you had to apply for it and interview for it as if you didn't even work at the company. I kid you not. I don't know how it is for you guys, but that's been my experience. Even when I worked at Boston University, even when I worked at MIT, like I can tell you, you had to apply and interview for there was no, we're just going to promote you. I want to know where these jobs are at, where people are just getting promoted.
We have removed the poison of critical race theory from our public schools, and I signed an order making it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Uh-oh.
I also signed an executive order to ban men from playing in women's sports.
Uh-oh. Is that Ben Shapiro? Yeah, that's Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh. Jesus Christ. Listen. You guys notice something? These are all things that don't cost money. All of these things that he's mentioning so far don't cost any money. Makes you think.
3 years ago, Peyton McNabb was an all-star high school athlete, one of the best, preparing for a future in college sports. But when her girls' volleyball match was invaded by a male, he smashed the ball so hard in Peyton's face, causing traumatic brain injury, partially paralyzing her right side and ending her athletic career. It was a shot like she's never seen before. She's never seen anything like it. Peyton is here tonight in the gallery, and Peyton, from now on, schools will kick the men off the girls' team, or they will lose all federal funding.
Yeah.
And if you really want to see numbers, just take a look at what happened in the women's boxing, weightlifting, track and field, swimming, or cycling, where a male recently finished a long-distance race 5 hours and 14 minutes ahead of a woman for a new record by 5 hours. Broke the record by 5 hours. It's demeaning for women, and it's very bad for our country. We're not going to put up with it any longer.
That might be Raleigh Gaines. Someone said no sharing bathrooms. I wonder what that would mean for my state of Massachusetts, because we have shared bathrooms in a lot of the businesses here in Boston. So I wonder what that would mean. I don't know if they would have to change that or not, but it's been that way here for a while, to be honest with you.
What I have just described is only a small fraction of the common sense revolution that is now, because of us, sweeping the entire world. Common sense has become a common theme, and we will never go back. Never. Never going to let that happen. Among my very highest priorities is to rescue our economy and get dramatic and immediate relief to working families. As you know, we inherited from the last administration an economic catastrophe and an inflation nightmare. Their policies drove up energy prices, pushed up grocery costs, and drove the necessities of life out of reach for millions and millions of Americans. They've never had anything like it. We suffered the worst inflation in 48 years, but perhaps even in the history of our country. They're not sure. As president, I'm fighting every day to reverse this damage and make America affordable again.
People want to hear STEMI. People are waiting to hear, so we getting a check or what?
Joe Biden especially let the price of eggs get out of control. The egg price is out of control, and we're working hard to get it back down. Secretary, do a good job on that. You inherited a total mess from the previous administration. Do a good job. A major focus of our fight to defeat inflation is rapidly reducing the cost of energy. The previous administration cut the number of new oil and gas leases by 95%, slowed pipeline construction to a halt, and closed more than 100 power plants. We are opening up many of those power plants right now. And frankly, we have never seen anything like it. That's why on my first day in office, I declared a national energy emergency. As you've heard me say many times, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any nation on earth, and by far. And now I fully authorize the most talented team ever assembled to go and get it. It's called Drill, Baby, Drill. My administration is also working on a gigantic natural gas pipeline in Alaska, among the largest in the world, where Japan, South Korea, and other nations want to be our partner with investments of trillions of dollars each. There's never been anything like that one. It will be truly spectacular. It's all set to go. The permitting is gotten. And later this week, I will also take historic action to dramatically expand production of critical minerals and rare earths here in the USA.
And Ukraine.
To further combat inflation, we will not only be reducing the cost of energy, but will be ending the flagrant waste of taxpayer dollars. And to that end, I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Perhaps you've heard of it. Perhaps. Which is headed by Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight. Oh my God. Thank you, Elon. He's working very hard. He didn't need this. He didn't need this. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Everybody here, even this side, appreciates it, I believe. They just don't want to admit that. Just listen to some of the appalling waste we have already identified. $22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is. $8 million to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $60 million for indigenous peoples and Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America. $60 million. $8 million for making mice transgender. This is real. $32 million for a left-wing propaganda operation in Moldova. $10 million for male circumcision in Mozambique. $20 million for the Arab Sesame Street in the Middle East. It's a program. $20 million for a program. $1.9 billion to recently created Decarbonization of Homes Committee, headed up, and we know she's involved. Just at the last moment, the money was passed over by a woman named Stacey Abrams. Have you ever heard of her? A $3.5 million consulting contract for lavish fish monitoring. $1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia.
So I think some of these numbers, and I've looked up some of these numbers are exaggerated. By the way, guys, you can look up some of the stuff yourself. That being said, when I was in high school, when I was on the debate team, we were diving into some of the stuff about how the U.S. government was spending money in ways that it didn't need to. Did you know at one point, I don't know if they still do this, at one point, the U.S. government was spending money to study cow flatulence? I don't know. I mean, do you need to know about a cow's farting or something? I don't know. But just how they would just spend money on things that made absolutely no sense. But that money also that they cut, it's not being redirected anywhere else. Someone had put in the chat, they said, is that money being redirected to Flint or Jackson, Mississippi? No.
$14 million for social cohesion in Mali. $59 million for illegal alien hotel rooms in New York City. He's a real estate developer. He's done very well. $250,000 to increase vegan local climate action innovation in Zambia. $42 million for social and behavior change in Uganda. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. Asia's doing very well with learning. You know what we're doing. We should use it ourselves. And $101 million for DEI contracts at the Department of Education, the most ever paid, nothing even like it. Under the Trump administration, all of these scams, and they're far worse, but I didn't think it was appropriate to talk about them. They're so bad. Many more have been found out and exposed and swiftly terminated by a group of very intelligent, mostly young people, headed up by Elon, and we appreciate it. We found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud.
You see, they got the signs up here, the paddles that say false, right?
And we've taken back the money and reduced our debt to fight inflation and other things. Taken back a lot of that money. We got it just in time. This is just the beginning. The Government Accountability Office, a federal government office, has estimated annual fraud of over $500 billion in our nation, and we are working very hard to stop it. We're going to. We're also identifying competence and Social Security program for our seniors, and that our seniors and people that we love rely on. Believe it or not, government databases list 4.7 million Social Security members from people aged 100 to 109 years old. It lists 3.6 million people from ages 110 to 119. I don't know any of them. I know some people that are rather elderly, but not quite that elderly. 3.47 million people from ages 120 to 129.
I'm sorry, you guys, but this is not true. This is not true. I see some of you are already calling this out in the chat. Dwayne's like a proven lie. Yeah, this is false, right? Like, was there some fraud? Yes. Was there some waste? Yes. Not as much as he's saying it is. That's the thing. That's being exaggerated. Oh, boy.
3.9 million people from ages 130 to 139. 3.5 million people from ages 140 to 149. And money is being paid to many of them. And we're searching right now. In fact, Pam, good luck.
No, this information is coming from Elon. You guys, I mean, think about this for a second. It's Elon we're talking about. Do you trust Elon to tell the truth? Come on now. This information is coming from Elon. This is not true. Oh, boy.
Good luck. You're going to find it. But a lot of money is paid out to people because it just keeps getting paid, and nobody does. And it really hurts Social Security and hurts our country. 1.3 million people from ages 150 to 159, and over 130,000 people, according to the Social Security databases are age over 160 years old. We have a healthier country than I thought, Bobby. Including, to finish, 1,039 people between the ages of 220 and 229, one person between the age of 240 and 249, and one person is listed at 360 years of age. More than 100 years older than our country. But we're going to find out where that money's going, and it's not going to be pretty. By slashing all of the fraud, waste, and theft we can find, we will defeat inflation, bring down mortgage rates, lower car payments and grocery prices, protect our seniors, and put more money in the pockets of American families.
The grocery prices are not going to decrease with the tariffs on Mexico and Canada. Just FYI.
And today, interest rates took a beautiful drop, big, beautiful drop. It's about time. And in the near future, I want to do what has not been done in 24 years, balance the federal budget. We're going to balance it. With that goal in mind, we have developed in great detail what we are calling the Gold Card, which goes on sale very, very soon. For $5 million, we will allow the most successful job-creating people from all over the world to buy a path to U.S. citizenship. It's like the Green Card, but better and more sophisticated. And these people will have to pay tax in our country. They won't have to pay tax from where they came. The money that they've made, you wouldn't want to do that, but they have to pay tax, create jobs. They'll also be taking people out of colleges and paying for them so that we can keep them in our country instead of having them being forced out. Number one, at the top school, as an example, being forced out and not being allowed to stay and create tremendous numbers of jobs and great success for a company out there. So while we take out the criminals, killers, traffickers, and child predators who are allowed to enter our country under the open border policy of these people, the Democrats, the Biden administration, the open border insane policies that you've allowed to destroy our country, we will now bring in brilliant, hardworking, job-creating people. They're going to pay a lot of money, and we're going to reduce our debt with that money.
So see, what did I tell you? What did I tell you when they were talking about the H-1B visas? Is this America first? Because you heard what he said. So it's not that he's, and this is what I tried to say before, it's not that he's anti-immigration. He just wants immigrants here that can bring in some money. So see, for all the people who said, yay, get the people out, get them out. He's still going to bring more people in to get jobs. So this is why I said, I just said this over and over again, you know. So you got to remember, Trump is a businessman, so he's going to do what works best for business.
Americans have given us a mandate for bold and profound change. For nearly 100 years, the federal bureaucracy has grown until it has crushed our freedoms, ballooned our deficits, and held back America's potential in every possible way. The nation founded by pioneers and risk takers now drowns under millions and millions of pages of regulations and debt. Approvals that should take 10 days to get instead take 10 years, 15 years, and even 20 years before you're rejected. Meanwhile, we have hundreds of thousands of federal workers who have not been showing up to work. My administration will reclaim power from this unaccountable bureaucracy, and we will restore true democracy to America again. And any federal bureaucrat who resists this change will be removed from office immediately. Because we are draining the swamp. It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the faces of some of the Democrats in the audience, and they just look lost. Like, they look like, some of them look really weak, right? Like, you see people out here holding up signs, false and all that kind of stuff. Hakeem Jeffries is right up there, right here in the front. See him right here? No signs, no nothing, right? He's supposed to be leadership. Jim Clyburn, they're supposed to be leadership. They don't have a sign or anything. You know, it's like, the only way that this happens is by the Democratic Party being so weak to begin with. That's how it happens. That's how you get a Donald Trump. I would argue if Obama did the things that he ran on and said he was going to do, I don't think Trump wins in 2016.
And the next phase of our plan to deliver the greatest economy in history is for this Congress to pass tax cuts for everybody. They're in there. They're waiting for you to vote. And I'm sure that the people on my right, I don't mean the Republican right, but my right here, I'm sure you're going to vote for those tax cuts, because otherwise I don't believe the people will ever vote you into office. So I'm doing you a big favor by telling you that. But I know this group is going to be voting for the tax. Thank you. It's a very, very big part of our plan. We had tremendous success in our first term with it. A very big part of our plan. We're seeking permanent income tax cuts all across the board. And to get urgently needed relief to Americans hit especially hard by inflation, I'm calling for no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our great seniors.
How do people feel about that? No tax on tips, no tax on, I can't believe Social Security was taxed in the first damn place, because people that have that are usually on a fixed income. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and no tax on, I forgot what the other one was. I forget. But how do people feel about that? I was a waitress, so no tax on tips would have been great for me during that time. If you have Social Security, how do people feel about that? Okay, some people are saying yes for Social Security. Okay. Overtime. Yes. The other one was overtime. I agree. No tax on overtime, because it's kind of pointless sometimes if you work overtime. And then by the time you look at like your pay stub and you're like, did I even work overtime? Because once they take the taxes out, it feels like you really didn't get that overtime pay. So I agree with that. We'll have to wait and see if it actually happens. I would think Democrats would be happy about that, though. Maybe I was wrong.
And I also want to make interest payments on car loans tax deductible, but only if the car is made in America.
But the American cars don't last long. That's the thing. I get what he's trying to do, but they don't last long.
And by the way, we're going to have growth in the auto industry like nobody's ever seen. Plants are opening up all over the place. Deals are being made. Never seen. That's a combination of the election win and tariffs. It's a beautiful word, isn't it? That, along with our other policies, will allow our auto industry to absolutely boom. It's going to boom. Spoke to the majors today, all three, the top people, and they're so excited. In fact, already numerous car companies have announced that they will be building massive automobile plants in America, with Honda just announcing a new plant in Indiana, one of the largest anywhere in the world. And this has taken place since our great victory on November 5th, a date which will hopefully go down as one of the most important in the history of our country. In addition, as part of our tax cuts, we want to cut taxes on domestic production and all manufacturing. And just as we did before, we will provide 100% expensing. It will be retroactive to January 20th, 2025, and it was one of the main reasons why our tax cuts were so successful in our first term, giving us the most successful economy in the history of our country. First term. We had a great first term. If you don't make your product in America, however, under the Trump administration, you will pay a tariff, and in some cases, a rather large one. Other countries have used tariffs against us for decades, and now it's our turn to start using them against those other countries. On average, the European Union, China, Brazil, India, Mexico, and Canada, have you heard of them? And countless other nations charge us tremendously higher tariffs than we charge them. It's very unfair. India charges us auto tariffs higher than 100%. China's average tariff on our products is twice what we charge them. And South Korea's average tariff is 4 times higher. Think of that, 4 times higher. And we give so much help militarily and in so many other ways to South Korea, but that's what happens. This is happening by friend and foe. This system is not fair to the United States and never was, and so on April 2nd, I wanted to make it April 1st, but I didn't want to be accused of April Fool's Day. That's not, just one day was cost us a lot of money. But we're going to do it in April. I'm a very superstitious person. April 2nd, reciprocal tariffs kick in. And whatever they tariff us, other countries, we will tariff them. That's reciprocal, back and forth. Whatever they tax us, we will tax them. If they do non-monetary tariffs to keep us out of their market, then we will do non-monetary barriers to keep them out of our market. There's a lot of that, too. They don't even allow us in their market. We will take in trillions and trillions of dollars and create jobs like we have never seen before. I did it with China, and I did it with others, and the Biden administration couldn't do anything about it because there was so much money they couldn't do anything about it. We have been ripped off for decades by nearly every country on earth, and we will not let that happen any longer.
Oh my God. Why does he look like that? You guys know I don't like I don't like tariffs and all that kind of stuff, because I do feel like that means we're going to pay more. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. in between now and April 2nd. But Chris Coons here, why he look like he about to cry or something? Like, what has happened here? Right? Don't forget, this is the senator who voted against increasing the minimum wage. You guys know that? Chris Coons, he's one of the Democrats that voted against it. So you see, Chris, that's how we end up with the Trump.
Much has been said over the last 3 months about Mexico and Canada, but we have very large deficits with both of them. But even more importantly, they've allowed fentanyl to come into our country at levels never seen before, killing hundreds of thousands of our citizens and many very young, beautiful people, destroying families. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They are, in effect, receiving subsidies of hundreds of billions of dollars. We pay subsidies to Canada and to Mexico of hundreds of billions of dollars, and the United States will not be doing that any longer. We're not going to do it any longer. Thanks to our America First policies we're putting into place, we have had $1.7 trillion of new investment in America in just the past few weeks. The combination of the election and our economic policies that people of SoftBank, one of the most brilliant anywhere in the world, announced a $200 billion investment. OpenAI and Oracle, Larry Ellison, announced $500 billion investment, which they wouldn't have done if Kamala had won. Apple announced $500 billion investment. Tim Cook called me. He said, I cannot spend it fast enough. It's going to be much higher than that, I believe. They'll be building their plants here instead of in China. And just yesterday, Taiwan Semiconductor, the biggest in the world, most powerful in the world, has a tremendous amount, 97% of the market, announced a $165 billion investment to build the most powerful chips on earth right here in the USA. And we're not giving them any money. Your CHIPS Act is a horrible, horrible thing. We give hundreds of billions of dollars, and it doesn't mean a thing. They take our money and they don't spend it. All that meant to them, we're giving them no money. All that was important to them was they didn't want to pay the tariffs, so they came and they're building, and many other companies are coming. We don't have to give them money. We just want to protect our businesses and our people. And they will come because they won't have to pay tariffs if they build in America. So it's very amazing. You should get rid of the CHIP Act, and whatever's left over, Mr. Speaker, you should use it to reduce debt or any other reason you want to.
Wow.
Our new trade policy will also be great for the American farmer. I love the farmer. Who will now be selling into our home market, the USA, because nobody is going to be able to compete with you. Because there's goods that come in from other countries and companies. They're really in a bad position in so many different ways. They're uninspected. They may be very dirty and disgusting, and they come in and they pour in, and they hurt our American farmers. The tariffs will go on agricultural product coming into America, and our farmers, starting on April 2nd, it may be a little bit of an adjustment period. We had that before when I made the deal with China, $50 billion of purchases, and I said, just bear with me, and they did. They did. Probably have to bear with me again, and this will be even better. That was great. The problem with it was that Biden didn't enforce it. He didn't enforce it. $50 billion of purchases, and we were doing great, but Biden did not enforce it, and it hurt our farmers. But our farmers are going to have a field day right now. So to our farmers, have a lot of fun. I love you too. I love you too. All going to happen. And I have also imposed a 25% tariff on foreign aluminum, copper, lumber, and steel, because if we don't have, as an example, steel and lots of other things, we don't have a military, and frankly, we just won't have a country very long. Here today is a proud American steelworker, fantastic person from Decatur, Alabama. Jeff Denard has been working at the same steel plant for 27 years in a job that has allowed him to serve as the captain of his local volunteer fire department, raise 7 children with his beautiful wife, Nicole, and over the years provide a loving home for more than 40 foster children. So great, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Stories like Jeff's remind us that tariffs are not just about protecting American jobs. They're about protecting the soul of our country. Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much. No, you're not. Oh. And look where Biden took us. Very low, the lowest we've ever been. Jeff, I want to thank you very much. And I also want to recognize another person who has devoted herself to foster care community. She works so hard on it. A very loving person, our magnificent First Lady of the United States.
Good boy.
Melania's work has yielded incredible results, helping prepare our nation's future leaders as they enter the workforce. Our First Lady is joined by 2 impressive young women, very impressive. Haley Ferguson, who benefited from the First Lady's Fostering the Future initiative and is poised to complete her education and become a teacher. And Elliston Berry, who became a victim of an illicit deepfake image produced by a peer.
I think we can fast forward through this, you guys. I'm sorry. I just think that, there we go.
Enforcement in general is incredible. We have to take care of our law enforcement. Have to. Towns like Aurora, Colorado, and Springfield, Ohio, buckled under the weight of the migrant occupation and corruption like nobody's ever seen before. Beautiful towns destroyed. Now, just as I promised in my inaugural address, we are achieving the great liberation of America. But there's still...
Jeanette, I was a little bit behind. I'm a little bit behind. That's how I was able to fast forward. Yeah. I figured we could skip through like those personal stories.
Is much work to be done. Here tonight is a woman I have gotten to know, Alexis Nungary from Houston. Wonderful woman. Last June, Alexis's 12-year-old daughter, her precious Jocelyn, walked to a nearby convenience store. She was kidnapped, tied up, assaulted for 2 hours under a bridge.
Yeah, I think we can fast forward through the personal stories. I think people want to get to the... There we go.
Countless thousands of these terrorists were welcomed into the U.S. by the Biden administration. But now every last one will be rounded up and forcibly removed from our country, or, if they're too dangerous, put in jails, standing trial in this country, because we don't want them to come back ever. With us this evening is a warrior on the front lines of that battle, Border Patrol Agent Roberto Ortiz.
I just want to tell you guys something else, too, about the numbers. Because the numbers, what they're showing right now is that that's not the case. The deportations under Donald Trump right now, the numbers are significantly low when you compare it to other presidents at this time. So far, those numbers are not, check the numbers, Google it, and you'll see. Just FYI. Okay, here we go.
In borders. Americans expect Congress to send me this funding without delay so I can sign it into law. So, Mr. Speaker, John Thune, both of you, I hope you're going to be able to do that, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Mr. Leader, thank you. Thank you very much. And let's get it to me. I'll sign it so fast, you won't even believe it. And as we reclaim our sovereignty, we must also bring back law and order to our cities and towns. In recent years, our justice system has been turned upside down by radical left lunatics.
Here we go.
Many jurisdictions virtually ceased enforcing the law against dangerous repeat offenders while weaponizing law enforcement against political opponents like me. My administration has acted swiftly and decisively to restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law, starting at the FBI and the DOJ. Pam, good luck. Cash, wherever you may be, good luck. Good luck. Pam Bondi. Good luck. So important. Going to do a great job. Cash, thank you. Thank you, Cash.
I don't know, but every time they say his name, I think of Cash Me Outside. You guys remember the Cash Me Outside girl? Cash Me Outside.
They've already started very strong. They're going to do a fantastic job. You're going to be very proud of them. We're also once again giving our police officers the support, protection, and respect they so dearly deserve. They have to get it. They have such a hard, dangerous job, but we're going to make it less dangerous. The problem is the bad guys don't respect the law, but they're starting to respect it, and they soon will respect it. This also includes our great fire departments throughout the country. Our firemen and women are unbelievable people, and we'll never forget them. And besides that, they voted for me in record numbers, so I have no choice. 1 year ago this month, 31-year-old New York police officer Jonathan Diller, unbelievably wonderful person and a great officer, was gunned down at a traffic stop on Long Island. I went to his funeral. The vicious criminal charged with his murder had 21 prior arrests, and they were rough arrests, too. He was a real bad one. The thug in the seat next to him had 14 prior arrests and went by the name of Killer. He was Killer. He killed other people, they say, a lot of them. I attended Officer Diller's service, and when I met his wife and one-year-old son, Ryan, it was very inspirational, actually. His widow's name is Stephanie, and she is here tonight. Stephanie, thank you very much, Stephanie. Thank you very much.
Now, guys, I want to remind you of something. Don't forget, when Biden gave his address, remember what he said about law enforcement? He said, we don't want to defund the police. We're going to fund the police. We're going to fund the police. We're going to give them more, right? So what it showed you is, again, both of these parties are totally cool with law enforcement. Both of these parties are cool with giving law enforcement more money. That's another thing, right? Another thing I don't have in common with either of those parties.
Stephanie, we're going to make sure that Ryan knows his dad was a true hero, New York's finest. And we're going to get these cold-blooded killers and repeat offenders off our streets, and we're going to do it fast. Got to stop it. They get out with 28 arrests. They push people into subway trains. They hit people over the head, back of the head with baseball bats. We got to get them out of here. I've already signed an executive order requiring a mandatory death penalty for anyone who murders a police officer. And tonight I'm asking Congress to pass that policy into permanent law.
Everybody see that? See how they always give extra protection to the police? Both parties. Now, this is extreme. Anyone who murders a police officer gets the death penalty. And that's saying if they even had a fair trial, right?
I'm also asking for a new crime bill getting tough on repeat offenders while enhancing protections for America's police officers so they can do their jobs without fear of their lives being totally destroyed. They don't want to be killed. We're not going to let them be killed. Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer.
So they brought a black kid here to prove a point. You guys know that's what's being done here, right? Is to show, well, here's a black kid who wants to be a cop, right? You see what that is, right? Guys, that is very, very concerning, because my whole thing is that a police officer can try to manipulate the situation to make it seem like you even attempted to harm a police officer in that way. And notice what he said, crime bill. He said, we're talking about a new crime bill. Now, I'm just going to sit back and wait for people like Simone Sanders, who defended Joe Biden's crime bills. Yes, she did. For her to criticize this. Because why were the crime bills okay under Joe Biden? Because you was trying to get a check and a job at MSNBC at the time. But the crime bills aren't okay under Donald Trump. This is going to be a test, you guys. I'm telling you, people are starting to show you more and more. It's not necessarily about the policy that they support. It's about them being pro-Democrat or pro-Republican. It's about the party, not necessarily about the policy. So we're going to see what happens with this.
But in 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago.
They really pulling at the heartstrings here, aren't they? They really going all in.
75 rates of child cancer have increased by more than 40%. Reversing this trend is one of the top priorities for our new presidential commission to make America healthy again, chaired by our new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. With the name Kennedy, you would have thought everybody over here would have been cheering. How
No.
quickly they forget. Our goal is to get toxins out of our environment, poisons out of our food supply, and keep our children healthy and strong. As an example, not long ago, and you can't even believe these numbers, 1 in 10,000 children had autism, 1 in 10,000, and now it's 1 in 36. There's something wrong, 1 in 36, think of that. So we're going to find out what it is, and there's nobody better than Bobby and all of the people that are working with you. You have the best to figure out what is going on. Okay, Bobby, good luck. It's a very important job. Thank you.
I think someone yelled, "Throw him out."
Thank you. My administration is also working to protect our children from toxic ideologies in our schools. A few years ago, January Littlejohn and her husband discovered that their daughter's school had secretly socially transitioned their 13-year-old little girl. Teachers and administrators conspired to deceive January and her husband while encouraging her daughter to use a new name and pronouns. They, them pronoun, actually, all without telling January, who is here tonight and is now a courageous advocate against this form of child abuse. January, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Stories like this are why, shortly after taking office, I signed an executive order banning public schools from indoctrinating our children with transgender ideology. I also signed an order to cut off all taxpayer funding to any institution that engages in the sexual mutilation of our youth. And now I want Congress to pass a bill permanently banning and criminalizing sex changes on children and forever ending the lie that any child is trapped in the wrong body. This is a big lie.
Like, this is something that, again, like I've seen before. I thought you have to be 18 anyway. Like this whole thing about that happening to children, I thought you had to be 18 years old. So I don't know.
And our message to every child in America is that you are perfect exactly the way God made you. Because we're getting wokeness out of our schools and out of our military, and it's already out, and it's out of our society. We don't want it. Wokeness is trouble. Wokeness is bad. It's gone. It's gone. And we feel so much better for it, don't we? Don't we feel better? Our service members won't be activists and ideologues. They will be fighters and warriors. They will fight for our country. And Pete, congratulations. Secretary of Defense, congratulations. Athlete, they say, a brilliant student with a 4.46, that's good, GPA. And his greatest dream is to attend the U.S. Military Academy at West Point.
I'm sorry, guys.
Wanted to do it long ago, but the technology just wasn't there, not even close. But now we have.
It's just ways that some of this can be sped up. All these people in the audience.
The technology, it's incredible, actually. And other places they have it. Israel has it. Other places have it, and the United States should have it too, right, Tim, right? They should have it too, so I want to thank you, but it's a very, very important, this is a very dangerous world. We should have it. We want to be protected, and we're going to protect our citizens like never before. To boost our defense industrial base, we are also going to resurrect the American shipbuilding industry, including commercial shipbuilding and military shipbuilding. And for that purpose, I am announcing tonight that we will create a new Office of Shipbuilding in the White House and offer special tax incentives to bring this industry home to America where it belongs. We used to make so many ships. We don't make them anymore very much, but we're going to make them very fast, very soon. It will have a huge impact. To further enhance our national security, my administration will be reclaiming the Panama Canal, and we've already started doing it. Just today, a large American company announced they are buying both ports around the Panama Canal and lots of other things having to do with the Panama Canal and a couple of other canals. The Panama Canal was built by Americans for Americans, not for others, but others could use it. But it was built at tremendous cost of American blood and treasure. 38,000 workers died building the Panama Canal. They died of malaria. They died of snake bites and mosquitoes. Not a nice place to work. They paid them very highly to go there, knowing there was a 25% chance that they would die. The most expensive project also that was ever built in our country's history, if you bring it up to modern day costs. It was given away by the Carter administration for $1, but that agreement has been violated very severely. We didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
Yeah, he doesn't want to say BlackRock.
And we have Marco Rubio in charge. Good luck, Marco. Now, we know who to blame if anything goes wrong. Now, Marco's been amazing, and he's going to do a great job. Think of it. He got 100 votes.
Marco Rubio still looks like Zach from Saved by, like Zach and AC Slater from Saved by the Bell had a baby. I'm sorry, but that's what he still looks like to me. I see Zach Morris and AC Slater together, had a baby, and the baby is Mark Rubio. Now, I don't know. That's like if you put those two together, that's what you get.
You know, he was approved with actually 99, but the 100th was this gentleman, and I feel very certain. So let's assume he got 100 votes. And I'm either very, very happy about that or I'm very concerned about it. But he's already proven. I mean, he's a great gentleman. He's respected by everybody, and we appreciate you voting for Marco. He's going to do a fantastic job. Thank you. Thank you. He's doing a great job. Great job.
Brown Bunny, how do you know it's just for men die? Like that's a specific brand.
And I also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland. We strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security, and we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security, and I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it. We will keep you safe. We will make you rich, and together we will take Greenland to heights like you have never thought possible before. It's a very small population, but very, very large piece of land and very, very important for military security. America is once again standing strong against the forces of radical Islamic terrorism. 3.5 years ago, ISIS terrorists killed 13 American service members and countless others in the Abbey Gate bombing during the disastrous and incompetent withdrawal from Afghanistan. Not that they were withdrawing, it was the way they withdrew. Perhaps the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. Tonight, I am pleased to announce that we have just apprehended the top terrorist responsible for that atrocity, and he is right now on his way here to face the swift sword of American justice.
The crazy part is the U.S. basically created ISIS.
And I want to thank especially the government of Pakistan for helping arrest this monster. This was a very momentous day for those 13 families who I actually got to know very well, most of them, whose children were murdered, and the many people that were so badly, over 42 people, so badly injured on that fateful day in Afghanistan. What a horrible day. Such incompetence was shown that when Putin saw what happened, I guess he said, wow, maybe this is my chance. That's how bad it was. Should have never happened. Grossly incompetent people. I spoke to many of the parents and loved ones, and they're all in our hearts tonight. Just spoke to them on the phone. We had a big call. Every one of them called, and everybody was on the line, and they did nothing but cry with happiness. They were very happy, as happy as you can be under those circumstances. Their child, brother, sister, son, daughter was killed for no reason whatsoever. In the Middle East, we're bringing back our hostages from Gaza. In my first term, we achieved one of the most groundbreaking peace agreements in generations, the Abraham Accords. And now we're going to build on that foundation to create a more peaceful and prosperous future for the entire region. A lot of things are happening in the Middle East. People have been talking about that so much lately with everything going on with Ukraine and Russia. But a lot of things are happening in the Middle East. It's a
Here we
rough
go.
neighborhood, actually. I'm also working tirelessly to end the savage conflict in Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians and Russians have been needlessly killed or wounded in this horrific and brutal conflict with no end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense with no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
Oh, no.
2,000 people are being killed every single week. More than that. They're Russian young people. They're Ukrainian young people. They're not Americans. But I want it to stop. Meanwhile, Europe has sadly spent more money buying Russian oil and gas than they have spent on defending Ukraine, by far. Think of that. They've spent more buying Russian oil and gas than they have defending. And we've spent perhaps $350 billion, like taking candy from a baby. That's what happened. And they've spent $100 billion. What a difference that is. And we have an ocean separating us, and they don't. but we're getting along very well with them, and lots of good things are happening. Biden has authorized more money in this fight than Europe has spent by billions and billions of dollars. It's hard to believe that they wouldn't have stopped it and said at some point, come on, let's equalize. You got to be equal to us. But that didn't happen. Earlier today, I received an important letter from President Zelensky of Ukraine. The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than the Ukrainians, he said. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. We do really value how much America has done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence. Regarding the agreement on minerals and security, Ukraine is ready to sign it at any time that is convenient for you. I appreciate that he sent this letter, just got it a little while ago.
It's also on X, you guys. He posted this on social media earlier, saying that he changed his mind. Like, I was like, wow, that was fast. Yeah, Zelensky, he changed his mind after that public spat between himself and Donald Trump, and says, I changed my mind. I want to work towards peace. I want to negotiate peace. Let's get the deal done. I was like, that was quick. And again, like, I want the war to end. I don't like war. And I think this war should have never none of these wars should have happened, but he changed his mind very quickly. I guess that's because, the US, because they cut off the aid. So this is interesting.
Simultaneously, we've had serious discussions with Russia and have received strong signals that they are ready for peace. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be beautiful? It's time to stop this madness. It's time to halt the killing. It's time to end this senseless war. If you want to end wars, you have to talk to both sides. Nearly 4 years ago, amid rising tensions, a history teacher named Mark Fogel was detained in Russia and sentenced to 14 years in a penal colony. Rough stuff. The previous administration barely lifted a finger to help him. They knew he was innocent, but they had no idea where to begin. But last summer, I promised his 95-year-old mother, Malphine, that we would bring her boy safely back home. After 22 days in office, I did just that, and they are here tonight. To Mark and his great mom, we are delighted to have you safe and sound and with us. As fate would have it, Mark Fogel was born in a small rural town in Butler, Pennsylvania. Have you heard of it? Where his mother has lived for the past 78 years. I just happened to go there last July 13th for a rally. That was not pleasant. And that is where I met his beautiful mom right before I walked onto that stage. And I told her I would not forget what she said about her son. And I never did I? Never forgot. Less than 10 minutes later, at that same rally, gunfire rang out, and a sick and deranged assassin unloaded 8 bullets from his sniper's perch into a crowd of many thousands of people. My life was saved by a fraction of an inch, but some were not so lucky. Corey Comparator was a firefighter, a veteran, a Christian, a husband, a devoted father, and above all, a protector. When the sound of gunshots pierced the air, it was a horrible sound. Corey knew instantly what it was and what to do. He threw himself on top of his wife and daughters and shielded them from the bullets with his own body. Corey was hit really hard. You know the story from there. He sacrificed his life to save theirs. Two others, very fine people, were also seriously hit. But thankfully, with the help of two great country doctors, we thought they were gone and they were saved. So those doctors had great talent. We're joined by Corey's wife, Helen, who was his high school sweetheart, and their two beloved daughters, Allison and Kaylee. Thank you. Who touched the moon. Americans have always been the people who defied all odds, transcended all dangers, made the most extraordinary sacrifices, and did whatever it took to defend our children, our country, and our freedom. And as we have seen in this chamber tonight, that same strength, faith, love, and spirit is still alive and thriving in the hearts of the American people. Despite the best efforts of those who would try to censor us, silence us, break us, destroy us, Americans are today a proud, free, sovereign, and independent nation that will always be free, and we will fight for it till death. We will never let anything happen to our beloved country, because we are a country of doers, dreamers, fighters, and survivors. Our ancestors crossed a vast ocean, strode into the unknown wilderness, and carved their fortunes from the rock and soil of a perilous and very dangerous frontier.
I feel like I'm listening to like a monologue at a Shakespeare play.
They chased our destiny across a boundless continent. They built the railroads, laid the highways, and graced the world with American marvels like the Empire State Building, the mighty Hoover Dam, and the towering Golden Gate Bridge. They lit the world with electricity, broke free of the force of gravity, fired up the engines of American industry, vanquished the communists, fascists, and Marxists all over the world, and gave us countless modern wonders sculptured out of iron, glass, and steel. We stand on the shoulders of these pioneers who won and built the modern age, these workers who poured their sweat into the skylines of our cities, these warriors who shed their blood on fields of battle and gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. Now it is our time to take up the righteous cause of American liberty, and it is our turn to take America's destiny into our own hands and begin the most thrilling days in the history of our country. This will be our greatest era. With God's help, over the next 4 years, we are going to lead this nation even higher, and we are going to forge the freest, most advanced, most dynamic, and most dominant civilization ever to exist on the face of this earth. We are going to create the highest quality of life, build the safest and wealthiest and healthiest and most vital communities anywhere in the world. We are going to conquer the vast frontiers of science, and we are going to lead humanity into space and plant the American flag on the planet Mars and even far beyond.
Why? We can't even, we're not even treating this country, this planet well.
And through it all, we are going to rediscover the unstoppable power of the American spirit. And we are going to renew unlimited promise of the American dream. Every single day, we will stand up and we will fight, fight, fight for the country our citizens believe in and for the country our people deserve. My fellow Americans, get ready for an incredible future because the golden age of America has only just begun. It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Let me just pause here for a second because there is something I want to show you guys. There's something that I noticed. When you see all three of them together, this could really be a sitcom, like those 90s sitcoms. Like all you need to do, and I was thinking about this, JD Vance, you need him to gain some more weight, right? He could be the TV dad because the TV dad and the 90s sitcoms, they're usually, a little chubbier, right? So if JD Vance were to gain some more weight, and then if you look over here at Mike Johnson can be his best friend. Right? He looked like he could play the best friend role, not the TV dad. Mike Johnson don't have TV dad face, but JD Vance got TV dad face. If he gained some more weight, Mike Johnson can be his best friend, and Donald Trump could be like their boss at the company that they work for. You don't see him every episode. I just thought about that, Oh my God. Brown Bunny said the Golden Girls. Okay, so here's the thing. Everybody noticed he didn't really get into Israel. Did you guys notice he mentioned the Middle East and he talked about there's things happening over there, but he didn't dive into it. He didn't dive into it because it's a losing situation unless he holds Benjamin Netanyahu accountable, which we know he's not going to do. So notice how he didn't really get into that, right? Elise Stefanik is sitting right up there in the front. His AIPAC buddies are right there in the front. He did not dive into Israel. Everyone pay attention to that. He dived into Ukraine. You know why? Because Zelensky is ready to make a deal. And Putin had already agreed to one, apparently. So that could be a winner for him. People have to remember Donald Trump don't like to lose. He likes to win. So if he feels that something is going to be a loser, he'll just kind of skip over it. After everything that has happened, he didn't bring up anything about the details of Gaza, the details of his agreement with Benjamin Netanyahu, the West Bank, none of that. Just said there's a situation over there in the Middle East. Pay attention, folks. Pay attention. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.